Okay, so I got this comment here. Question: is the black goo really made from E. coli poo-poo? Because poo-poo comes from the pit or the abyss. So I made a video over the black goo on my last YouTube channel, and I did get some backlash on that. People were really adamant in what they believe the black goo to be. Me, yes, the black goo is just another, figurative expression of poo. But I never said this. I never said because poo-poo comes from the pit or the abyss. That's not what I said. You've taken what I've said and you just, it's out of context here. So here's my response to that. I never said that. The black goo is a metaphoric expression of the black poo, but poo doesn't come from the abyss. What they got from poo is genome editing technology and genetic information, i.e. bits and pieces, codes for something that exists in the abyss, yet when they incorporate that genetic material into these androgens, they become one with that which exists in the abyss. And that's how it's getting out, through these people. It's experiencing this reality through those people who have been infected with the CRISPR genome editing technology, that have had the bits and pieces of the biblical Satan's DNA incorporated into their own DNA. So I'm going to try and explain this CRISPR shit. This is like, how the hell am I supposed to be explaining genetics? But whatever, here I'll try. So again, they got two things from bacteria. They got the molecular scissors, which allows them to splice the DNA, but they also got what's highlighted here, fragments of foreign DNA, or what I've been referring to as the bits and pieces of DNA from the biblical Satan, whatever, genetic code of the biblical Satan. So this diagram here, the round thing here would be representational of a bacteria cell. So then here's a virus attacking this bacteria cell, okay? So what this bacteria does is it gets a segment. This is like a natural system, immune system of the bacteria. It gets a fragment of this virus's DNA, and then it puts it in its own DNA. And that's what this rainbow looking thing here is showing. See that green thing? So now it's right here. It's just a piece of what this virus was. A bits and pieces. It takes it and it puts it in its own DNA. It's sort of like its memory bank. So then it can go through its memory bank, and whenever it's infected by another virus again, it'll have this in there, and it'll remember that, and it will know to sort of attack it. Like, that's the bacteria's natural immune system. So what it also has is a pair of scissors right here. It's called a Cas9. Cas9, that's what it's called. And again, it acts as, that's why they got these scissors here. It acts as a pair of molecular scissors. They can cut molecules. So what this bacteria does is it takes that viral DNA, that little piece right there, and it puts it into this Cas9 protein. So then now it's a 2-in-1. It's the Cas9 protein, but it's loaded with the bits and pieces. What's being labeled here as a spacer. The bits and pieces of that viral DNA. It's got it loaded into this Cas9 thing. So then it can search this whole cell, find that by matching it with what it has in here. If it matches, then it knows what it is, and it can cut it. So that's what, I don't know if that explains this any better or not, but that's just a brief explanation of it. So here, this is what is the role of the Cas9 protein, an enzyme called Cas9. This acts as a pair of molecular scissors that can cut the two strands of DNA at a specific location in the genome so that bits of DNA can then be added or removed. So again, that Cas9 protein that's being shown here, that's another part of bacteria's immune system. And it's being referred to as a pair of molecular scissors. So that's one thing that they got from bacteria, and that's what allows them, again, to cut the two strands of DNA at a specific location in the genome so that bits of DNA can then be added or removed. So the other thing that they got is what's being referred to as here fragments of foreign DNA. Cas systems store fragments of foreign DNA called spacers. So there's your spacer. And that, what is that? A fragment of foreign DNA, or what I've been referring to as the bits and pieces of the biblical Satan. It's a fragment of whatever this virus is. Remember in my video I told you they say viruses are neither living nor dead. So, I mean, who knows? So Cas systems store fragments of foreign DNA called spacers as immunological recordings used to combat future infections. So you use to combat future infection because it uses it. It's sort of like a remembrance, like a picture, and then it can compare it. I mean, that's how they sometimes symbolically refer to it as a picture. And it's a footprint too, essentially. That's what the whole Bigfoot code is. It's a piece of what this virus is. And they can, again, use it as an immunological recording used to combat future infections of the many spacers stored in a CRISPR array. So it stores a whole bunch of them, and then the whole thing with multiple spacers, with multiple fragments of foreign DNA is called a CRISPR array. The most recent are known to be prioritized for immune defense. Yada, yada, yada. So I hope that, I don't know, if that explains this any better or not. So look at this here. I was driving to the job site one day last week, and this truck was on the side of me. Septic tank cleaning heat. I wanted to take a picture of it, but I couldn't, so I just looked it up. So here's his Facebook page. That's the truck. It was right next to me. So it's a septic service. Septic is your sewage. Look what it's called, Rose Septic. So why are they associating Rose with septic? Well, from my research, they use the word rose because it's, again, the past tense of the verb to rise, and what's rising is the biblical Satan via bits and pieces of the viral DNA on account of the genome editing technology discovered in bacteria. Damn. I mean, what else? How else would this come to be? What other rational explanation would there be in associating rose with septic?